Welcome, fellow recovering traditionalists, to episode 222. Hands-on math isn't just for the little kids, plus a virtual Math Summit preview. Today, I want to revisit one of my favorite topics, something I actually haven't talked about in a while, but it's more important now than ever: the CRA model. Welcome to Build Math Minds, where fidelity to your students is greater than fidelity to your textbook. I'm your host, Christina Tonnevold, the recovering traditionalist and BuildMathMinds.com founder, where my mission is to change the way we teach elementary math to our kiddos. So, are you ready to start building math minds and not just creating calculators? Let's get started. If you've been around Build Math Minds for a while, you know I talk about concrete, representational, and abstract. But I don't view CRA as a linear path where you start in the concrete, move to representational, and then move to abstract. That's actually the wrong way to think about it. I see it as a Venn diagram, 3 overlapping circles, and when you hit an activity in the middle, that's what I call the sweet spot of CRA. That's when the magic happens. Kids are working with manipulatives and connecting it to a drawing and connecting all of that to the written symbols, all at the same time. Those are the lessons where kids have those light bulb moments. Those are the lessons where at the end you walk away and think, that was awesome. Now, why am I bringing this up again? Because post-pandemic, we're seeing students who are missing foundational understanding. They've got some huge gaps. And when students don't have that foundation, the abstract symbols of mathematics alone won't cut it. But doing all concrete or all hands-on all the time, that doesn't work either. Students need all 3, and they need to see the connections between them. They need to see how the blocks connect to the drawings and how the drawings connect to the equation. That's the sweet spot. I see this a lot in upper elementary, though. The idea that concrete and representational are just for the little kids, and that by 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, students should be all past that. They should just be working with the numbers and symbols. And yes, upper elementary is when the math gets more abstract. But if students don't have the concrete and visual experiences to anchor their understandings, well, they just end up memorizing procedures without any idea of what they actually mean. So if you work with upper elementary, please hear me on this. The CRA sweet spot isn't just for those younger kids. It's for you too. So let me show you what I mean with a couple of examples, one from early elementary and one from upper elementary. And I'm also going to give you a little bit of a preview of some virtual Math Summit sessions that deal with hands-on learning. So let's start with an early elementary example just to get us started. Let's say we want to be working on 7 plus 8. We can bring in the concrete by letting kids use a rekenrek, for example. So students might push over 7 beads on the top row, and then they still need to add 8 more beads. Well, maybe they decide they want to push over the 3 beads on the top to fill that top row. So now they've got 10. Then they'll push over the 5 beads on the bottom row, and they can see the answer of 15. But we don't want to stop there. Now we want them to connect a representation to it. So this is where we have them draw what they did on a number path. They will circle 7 because that's what they pushed over all at once. Then they'll show their jump of 3. They'll circle the 3. And then they'll show that they added 5 by circling another group of 5. Right? And then below that, we can bring in the abstract by having them write the equation that matches that. So right underneath it, they would write 7 plus 3 plus 5 equals 15. And if you want to get really tricky here, not tricky, but really cool, you can show how the 3 and 5 make the original 8. Do you see how all 3 of these are connected? The students didn't just push beads around. They connected that physical action to a visual model and to the written symbols. That's the sweet spot. Now let's look at an upper elementary example. Let's say we have fourth graders who need to build their understanding of multiplying a fraction by a whole number. So an example might be 3 times 1/4. We start with those fraction tiles. That's our concrete. We give the kids the tiles, all the tiles, not just the ones that are 1/4. We want them to try to figure out which ones are the 1/4. And we ask them to show 3 groups of 1/4. They will physically lay out their 3 1/4 tiles. Now, not everybody's going to put theirs together without any gaps, so that's a thing to be looking for. But we do want them to draw then a representation. Now, they might draw 3 separate rectangles, each partitioned into fourths, and they're shading one of them, but that's not really what they did with the tiles. Most likely, they're going to draw kind of like a number line and how 3 of them connect together. They might do it on a number line, or they might just draw rectangles that each represent 1/4. Now, to attach the abstract, this is where we want the symbols to come in, and we will have them write 3 times 1/4 equals 3/4. Without the concrete and representational steps here, students might just memorize, hey, all I have to do is multiply the whole number by the numerator. But they won't really understand what that actually means. So, one more thing about using manipulatives in a lesson. Please don't make them optional or for just the struggling students. If you say something like, if you need help, you can use the blocks, you're sending the wrong message that manipulatives are for kids who aren't smart enough to do it on their own. Instead, make them available for everyone. Model using them yourself even. Show students that even you use tools to think through problems. Normalize manipulative use so that kids see that they are just a part of how we do math. Help students see them as thinking tools, no matter what, okay? All right, now let's talk about the actual tools. Technology can be very powerful for this concrete phase. With digital manipulatives, you and your students don't get bogged down by the organization of them. They're right there at their fingertips, no digging through a long forgotten box in the back of a closet. One tool that I do love is Brainingcamp. In fact, I've been using their tools in this video for the episode to model what I've been talking about. They have digital manipulatives for all kinds of concepts: fraction models, number lines, base 10 blocks, rekenreks. For years, Brainingcamp has given away free access to all the participants at the Virtual Math Summit, and this year is no different. Anyone who registers for the summit will get a code for 6 months of access to Brainingcamp completely free. 6 months, guys, you get half a year. Digital manipulatives are great, but physical tools are great as well. So they are very powerful to have the actual objects in your hands, especially for our kinesthetic learners. There's just something different about holding it, right? I have a Kindle to read books on, but I also love having a physical book in my hand from time to time. So it's great to have both. Having a digital and physical manipulatives gives you some flexibility for your students. So it's great to have both if you have the ability. Didax is a great place to get some physical math tools. And they just happen to be celebrating their 50th anniversary this year. 50 years. You guys, the Virtual Math Summit is in its 10th year, but we're both celebrating some big milestones here. Theirs just way bigger. To celebrate both of these anniversaries, we're giving away some Didax manipulatives at the Virtual Math Summit. To be eligible, you do need to be there live during those live sessions. We're going to be picking people randomly from those who are in attendance in those sessions February 28th and March 1st. Beyond the giveaways, though, we've got some incredible sessions this year to help you bring more hands-on and visual learning into your classroom. One of my favorites, all of these presenters are favorites, but John Sangiovanni just has a special place in my math heart. He doesn't know it, but I sure do. Now, John is doing a session for 3rd through 5th grade teachers called More Than Numbers: Geometry, Measurement, and Data in Elementary Math. Now, those are areas that are very well known for being visual: geometry, measurement, and data. And I can't wait to hear about how John is going to talk to us about bringing in more geometry, measurement, and data into the classrooms. Ryan Doherty is doing a session called Breaking It Down, Decomposing at All Levels of Math. Decomposing is something that we teach in the younger grades, but Ryan's going to show you how it applies all the way up and how manipulatives and visuals help students see decomposition in action. Sarah Vanderwerf and Nina Smith are doing a session together called Utilizing Counting Collections as Formative Assessment. You might think counting collections are just for little kids, but Sarah and Nina are going to show you how this hands-on, concrete activity works in upper elementary and how it gives you incredible formative assessment data about where students really are. All of these sessions give you practical ways to bring more hands-on and visual learning into upper elementary classrooms, and they're completely free. Go to virtualmathsummit.com and get registered. The summit starts February 28th. You guys, that's less than 2 weeks away. I can't even believe we are less than 2 weeks until the Virtual Math Summit. Sessions are going to be live February 28th and March 1st. That's when we will be selecting attendees at random for our giveaways. If you can't attend live, you can watch the limited replays, but there are over 30 great sessions this year for coaches and teachers, and all of these giveaways. Brainingcamp is giving away their 6 months of free access. You don't have to attend to do that, but you do have to be registered. So even if you watch the replays, you still get the 6 months free. But to be entered into our Didax and Brainingcamp giveaways we're doing during live sessions, you have to be there present to win. Plus, we are doing some giveaways during the live sessions from Build Math Minds. We are giving away 10 memberships in celebration of our 10th anniversary to the Build Math Minds PD site. So 10 people are going to get free memberships into the site. So go to virtualmathsummit.com to get your spot. Make sure you're there for a chance to win those giveaways. I want to see you there live. Okay, just a reminder, hands-on and visual learning isn't just for little kids. Upper elementary students, especially post-pandemic, need concrete and representational experiences. But remember, guys, we got to connect it all to the abstract. Connect all three. Don't skip the CRA model, but make sure when you're doing the CRA model, as much as you can, get all three so that you are hitting that sweet spot. Whether you use digital manipulatives like Brainingcamp or physical manipulatives like the ones you can get from Didax, or maybe you're doing both, give your students the tools that they truly need to help them understand and make connections in mathematics. All right, my fellow recovering traditionalists, I hope that this helped build your math mind so you can build the math minds of students. This episode is brought to you by the Build Math Minds PD site. If you're an elementary math coach or instructional coach and you love this episode, well, you need to come check us out. Whether you're supporting teachers with number sense, helping them move beyond worksheets, or trying to shift mindsets about what math teaching should look like, we've got the PD you need right at your fingertips. Learn more at buildmathminds.com/BMM.